Pep Talk, Pro Beez, subscribe. And I'm delighted to be joined once again by Dave Coldwell. How are you?
I'm very good, mate. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm ticking along.
Good.
I think the last time we actually caught up was end of March.
Is
and
it
that
really?
feels like yesterday. Can you imagine?
Do you know what? The only thing is with the whole lockdown thing is I'm losing track of days. I generally don't know without checking my watch. I don't know what days are. But other than that, everything's cool. We're healthy. We're safe, and we're very busy. And the days are flying. You know, so thankfully the days are flying. You've got a routine going, and yeah, all good.
You've been a busy man, you know.
Mm.
The Sheffield's version of Al Heyman now, another signing.
No, Al's got a lot more money than me, mate. Yeah, I've. Do you know what? I'm excited. I'm excited about this one. It's my first foray into the world of female boxing. So far, I've just been a fan of Katie Taylor's, and then I've seen Terry Harper emerge, and I'm a big fan of her as well.
Big following.
Obviously Shannon Courtney. Watching her come through, she's got great personality, great banter. You know, lovely girl. And these sort of characters and quality fighters are progressing. A part of the package that's progressing women's boxing. You know, we're getting more and more talent. You look through the amateurs that are coming through as well. There's a lot of good talent, a lot of good female fighters that are coming through. And a couple of months ago, somebody pointed out this video. Somebody sent me a video. Says, "Mate, have you seen this girl?" I looked at the video and I thought, "Shit, she's good." And I thought, "Yeah, this might be the one that I wanna like dip my toes into it with." And I made contact, and because I didn't know who she was with or anything, and she said that she was with Kieran Farrell. So I thought, oh, okay, so that's it. I left it because I just thought it was with Kieran Farrell, and Kieran's a friend of mine. He used to be in one of my old boxes, and so I'd left that, and then me and Kieran got talking a couple of weeks later, and I said to him, "Oh, because I was, what's going on? This is," and he said to me, he says, "Oh, he said, I've got this girl, but Amy Taylor." I was like, "Yeah, do you know what?" I said, "Funny thing is," I said, "somebody sent," I said, "I've seen a video of her." I said, "Mate," I said, "I wanted to sign her." I said, and then I found out that she was with you. I said, so I just, he says, "Oh," he said, he says, "Funny enough," I said, "she's looking for management." I said, "I train her, but she's looking for new management." Like, oh, okay. So then me and Kieran got talking and spoke to Amy, and then here we are. All good, all signed up, and she's part of the Coldwell boxing firm.
What I've noticed, with your whole approach now, it looks like you're trying to blood through the fighters of tomorrow. It looks like that seems to be, the idea.
Do you know what it is? It's I've always kind of had a mix. I've always had a mix. When I was promoting, was the same. You have your established fighters, but then you want to bring through the new blood at the same time, because you got to think about the future. And then as a manager now, obviously Mr. Bellew retired. I've got a stable of young fighters. Even the management side, I think the oldest fighter that I've got management wise is probably Lee Wood. So yeah, even I've got young guys that I'm managing. Callum Beardo's a young kid. George Rhodes is a fairly young kid. Obviously the signings of Charles Frankham, Hopi Price, add to Jordan Gill, who's only just 25 himself. And then Amy, who's only just 20 as well. It's a young stable.
Yeah. I mean, look, in boxing today, a lot of the established stars, they're post 30. They're heading that direction. So I kind of get the whole idea. The whole idea is, hold on, we need to build the next generation. Next gen.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. JD next gen. But But no, I get it. I get it. You know,
I've still got the fighters that are. I mean, he's still young, but he's a little bit more seasoned. And Temuka Mucha, he's ready to go as well once this lockdown's over and done with. You know, I've only just signed him, but we've not been able to get any fights. He had to sort his medicals out and everything, and then the lockdown came, so everything got canned. So you know, I've got a lot of things in place, and we just need to go, but we're all restrained at the moment. So yeah, but you've got to keep the wheels turning, and part of that is, you know, was me signing Amy today. I'm still looking for more fighters to manage and to move along. Fighters that want to fight, fighters that, you know, that aren't afraid to take real fights, aren't afraid to see how good they are. I'm not interested in fighters that just want to pad the records out and just stay safe, sort of thing. I want fighters that want to achieve, and that's, you know, that's the main thing. But then also, I've always looked after fighters that just want to fight on the circuit, you know, that aren't good enough, know they're not going to be good enough to win major titles, but want to earn like a career out of boxing and supplement the work or whatever. And just to, you know, going back to the days of looking after journeymen like Daniel Thorpe and Paul Royston and Dean Walker and people like that. I've looked after a lot of fighters like that. So I enjoy the managing side of things. Obviously, I enjoy the training side of things, but I enjoy the managing side of things as well. So yeah, I'm excited where I'm at right now.
Excellent. I mean, what have you made of? Obviously, the return of boxing's been muted by the British Boxing Board of Control. Some ideas that they're floating about. I mean, what have you made of?
Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult, but the thing is, we have. So this isn't set in stone. One or two people have said to me, "Oh, how can you even think about boxing when people are dying and things like that?" I get that, but we're not talking about boxing returning now while we're under lockdown. We're talking about when lockdown's lifted and people start going back to work. Boxing is boxers' work. You know, everybody's associated with the fight game. The sport of boxing is our work. So when you're going to work at a car factory or you're going to work at a bakery or Tesco's or wherever, that is your place of work. Boxing is our work. That's how we make our money. So obviously, we're all looking to when can we get back to working and when can we get back to earning a wage again, you know? So we're putting things into place, the board, promoter, they're putting things into place to see if we can make it work and see if it can happen. Now, unfortunately, what that means is obviously behind closed doors. I can't see any events with crowds, football, boxing, whatever. I can't see it this year. I mean, some people are saying to me maybe September, October. I'll be very surprised. So there are only certain promoters that are willing and able financially to run these kind of shows behind closed doors, with all the testing, with all this, the implementation of the structures that they've got to put into place. That's financial. That is a huge hit financially. You know, you're talking about fighters. It's basically going to be like a fight camp where we're all, you know, we're going to be tested. We're all going to be tested. Everybody's involved is going to be tested. Everyone's going to have to be quarantined because to make sure that not in contact with other people that could reinfect you or infect you. There's all sorts of things like that in, you know, that are going to go into place. Again, that's all money on the promoter. So unfortunately, the lifeblood of boxing, which is small old boxing, and the feeder for all our, you know, big shows and you know, and those big stars that we're getting, it's going to struggle. It's going to really, really struggle, and it's going to be a way of change because we've got a choice where fighters are going to you know, even your Matchroom, your Frank Warren, you know, they're two the promoters I expect that are in a position to put on the shows. I know Eddie is, and he's looking at plans for putting that into practice. I don't know anything about what Frank's doing, but I imagine with Frank's budget and Frank what Ruiz, I imagine he's looking at the same. So even with their fighters, they're going to have to make a choice. Listen, do you want to box on this day? It's behind closed doors. I'm hearing some fighters saying, I want to wait until there's until there's crowds. Fair enough. If you don't want to box until there's crowds, you are running the risk of not fighting for a long time because we don't know when this is going to be. So that's the choice down to the fighters. And similarly, the kids on the small hall shows that rely on ticket sales to box, and that's why they're in the home corner, they're all of a sudden going to be sat there. They can't sell tickets, so they're not going to be boxing because small hall promoters aren't really going to be putting on shows. I can't see it. Mm-hmm. So if they can't put on the shows, they're sat there twiddling the thumbs, got nothing to do. My career's stagnant. I'm not earning. They're either going to go and get a job, or they're going to take fights. As in, if Frank Warren or Eddie Earns matchmaker rings up and says, "Listen, I've got a kid that's 6-0, you're 5-0, 6-0, 7-0. Do you want to make that fight?" And then they're either going to say no because I want to protect my record and I want to box in front of my own crowd for a couple of quid with a ticket deal, or they're going to go, "Yeah, okay, here's my opportunity to gate crash, go and beat your boy, to beat the big promoter's favourite, put myself in the shop window and maybe further my career." It's an opportunity for fighters like that, but they're going to have that choice because, believe me, there will be a lot of fighters that will turn around and say, "No, I'll just wait." And because they want to look after the record, and that's speaking from someone who used to put on shows, and I've seen fighters who don't want to take risks. So we will see. There will be opportunities, but it's going to be British fighters because the hard thing is the lower the weight division you go. Look at Sonny Edwards, right? I feel for Sonny Edwards because before lockdown, before coronavirus, hardly any Brits wanted to fight him. So can you imagine the trouble he's going to have now to try and find an opponent? Might work two ways. Maybe the British fighters are going to have to look and say, "Look, I'm not going to fight for another year or, for a good number of months until next year. I'm going to have to fight Sonny Edwards." So Sonny will get his opponents that way. And he might get his British title defences up that way. But it might be a case where the fighters just turn around and say, "I'm not fighting him." And that's where the struggle is. You look at female boxing. A lot of the opponents are from abroad. There's going to be no foreign opponents. So who's around at the same weights?
Yeah.
You're going to have to make the fights. If you want to fight, you have to make the fights.
But on a positive note, I always like to talk positive.
Yeah.
And says that long term, this is gonna draw out the big fights. This is gonna stop the haggling, stop the lengthy negotiations, and people are gonna say, "All right, let's have it. We've been out for long enough. Let's get it done."
I think it will get things moving a lot more, and plus, we don't know what the future holds now. Like, genuinely, we don't. This is a big wake-up call for everybody where we think, I'm 15-0, you're 16-0. Everybody wants us to fight, but we say, no, let's wait, let's let it marinate a little bit more. Let's wait, let's add another zero onto end, because if we wait another year, another 2 years, you keep winning, I keep winning, it's going to make you more money. Well, seriously, we don't know that. What happens if we go back to work, everything's cool, and then next winter or around winter or whatever, there's another flare up. We don't know. 6 months, 4 months, a year, there's another flare up. Boom, everything gets locked down again. Your career stopped again. So maybe it's a case of if you wanna start progressing, we have to take the fights when they're there, when they're available.
Well, on another matter. Out in Saudi, obviously Joshua defeated Andrew Ruiz to reclaim his titles. Since then, Andrew Ruiz has gone through a whole transformation. It looks like he's taken training seriously, and in the build-up to now appointing his new coach, Eddie Reynoso.
Great trainer.
As well. So he's with a good coach now, Canelo's coach. Coach.
He was with a good coach beforehand in Manny Robles, right? And it wasn't Manny's fault that if Andy Ruiz decided to enjoy his lifestyle, enjoy his money, and cut corners in training, it wasn't Manny's fault, But by the by, whatever the reason and whatever, he's left. He's got with Eddie Reynoso, and he's a very good coach, So that's a good move for him. You know, it is a good move for him. It's not, it can't be a bad move for him. He's moving to one of the world's best top coaches.
Yeah, wasn't he coach of the year 2019? That's it. I think it was. So
yeah,
the credentials was all there. I mean, if you can manage a beast like Canelo, 4-weight champion, you must be doing something right, because Canelo, for me, is pound for pound the guy. You know, I'm going to say that. For me, the guy.
I think it's mix and match top three. I think there's him, there's Crawford, there's Lomachenko.
Yeah.
But you can't deny Canelo's credentials. He's been fantastic, really. As a very, very good fighter. I'm a big fan of his.
I suppose the right was on the wall with Ruiz when pre-fight, when it's the Insta video and he was having a bit of pizza with his mates, and he says, "Don't tell my coach. Don't tell my coach." And
yeah, but it's all. But that's just it. Little things like that. This is the thing where fighters and the people around them, even his friends around him, right? It's all shits and giggles until it backfires on you, and you know, doing videos like that, taking a piss, having a bit of pizza before a fight. Don't tell my coach, you know, taking a piss out of the coach, you know, it bit him on his arse because he went and got beat. Do you know what I mean? So I've got no. It is what it is, you know. But the people around him should maybe say, "Yo, take that pizza away, man. You know, you don't mean a pizza. You're fighting there."
Because I saw Manny Robles in Vegas, Wilder versus Fury 2. And I asked him in the interview, I said, how did it all conclude? He said there was no conversation. Just literally, that was it, you know?
You see that shit? That is shit. You know, the man took you to win the heavyweight championship of the world. You know, you won the heavyweight championship of the world with that man. And then if there's no conversation to say, you know what, my head's this, I think I need a fresh start, rah. That's bullshit. You know, me and Fowler split. Obviously, we didn't win no world titles, right? We won a couple of international titles in his last two fights. After it got beat, come back, won a couple of titles. Fowler was still man enough to pick up the phone and have a conversation and say, "Can I come and see you?" And it just so transpired that I figured out, well, that's a little bit strange. So then we spoke on the phone, and 100% we're fine. You know, to this day we're friends. We're fine. I wish him all the best, and vice versa. But that's because he kind of, you know, he had the balls and he was man enough, and he had enough respect for me to actually say, "Listen, this. I'm not happy. I need to move on." Fair enough. That's not an issue. When a fighter just leaves without having a conversation, when he's took you to, when the coach has, you know, helped you to win titles, I think that's harsh. But to win the heavyweight title when you're a complete underdog and nobody rates you, nobody thinks you're going to do anything, and that man helps you to become heavyweight champion of the world, and then there's no conversation to say that you're leaving, I think that's shit. That just my opinion.
We might see there's been a lot of to and fro. Dillian White, Andrew Ruiz. It's
good fight. Good. That'd be a good fight.
Realistically, yeah, it will be a barn burner, definitely, between the two.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. You mentioned Deontay Wilder. Wilder, I've seen something pop up online that Frank Warren says that Daniel Dubois is ready for the smoke of Wilder. He's the best up and coming heavyweight in the world.
He's definitely one of the best up and coming heavyweights in the world, but it's completely untested. And this is the danger when you're somebody like Wilder, who smokes absolutely everybody out, comes up against one man that's a very exceptional man and can't do anything with him, and is made to look terrible, then everybody else thinks that it's an easy job. You didn't think it was an easy job before he got beat by Tyson. You know, nobody was shouting and bawling about how they want to fight Wilder. You know, well, there were. Dylan's been chasing him for God knows how long, but not many have been shouting, and certainly nobody looking after young prospects. Now all of a sudden they look at him as though he's damaged goods. Let's go and have him. I'm not saying Dubois can't, but what I'm saying is it's a big jump, a big old jump from the guys that he's been fighting to fighting Deontay Wilder. Let's not forget Wilder's managed, although, listen, he was getting outboxed, but he's managed to beat somebody like Ortiz, who nobody else wanted to fight, and he knocked Ortiz out. You know, he's had a couple of good wins, a couple of good names on his record, but he's got that right hand that can put anybody out. He can also get outboxed by anybody, so I understand where they're coming from, but I just think when you're saying he's ready now, how do you know that he's ready now? Because you've not seen him fighting anywhere near world level yet. You don't know. You might think he's ready now, but you don't know yet. It's a bold statement. It's a big old statement. But he's got to focus on Joe Joyce first. You know, Joe Joyce is his biggest test. That's his biggest test. That's his biggest, his biggest fight, and that's a domestic fight. So you're talking about your biggest test and your biggest fight as a domestic fight. The first fight where you've had where there's an opponent in front of you that's going to come to win. To jump, bypassing that, not even talking about that, to jump straight up to top end of the heavyweight division. That's a big old jump, that.
But in some ways, some people were saying that Deontay Wilder, the guys that he had fought, I know he iced almost everybody. Well, he virtually did.
Yeah.
They were saying that when he came up against the creme de la creme, that's when some of the holes started to appear.
But what? Okay, I get that. But Tyson Fury is a different kettle of fish to Daniel Dubois. Completely different. You can't even compare that. You know, Dubois has not proven himself beyond journeyman, African dangerman level. He's not proven himself any of that yet. Listen, I think he is. I think he beats Joe Joyce, and I think he goes on to become a heavyweight champion. I really do. I think he's that good. But right now, he's a baby. He's a young kid, and he's not got the grounding yet. So he fights Deontay Wilder and he beats Deontay Wilder. He's stuck at that level now. He's stuck at that level now. He ain't ready for all the top level fighters yet.
So
he's a fighter that I think that built, and Frank's built great fighters, really has great careers, great fighters. I think if they don't rush him, then I think he's a fighter that nailed on to be heavyweight champion of the world.
Because I think at the age of 22, if you look at the gap between the champions, the world champions, and their post 30s, 30 plus, you could be right. You could be like, hold on a minute.
Yeah,
let's marinate a bit more. You know, it's a bit like when you're marinating.
It's not even marinating. It's educating. He needs educating in real fights, and having guys that turn up that aren't afraid of him. Look at his record. Look at his fights. Look at the fighters he's fought. They're there to get beat, and it's a case of how many rounds can they give Daniel Dubois. That's not educating a fighter for the top end. That's not educating a fighter for the elite. You know, that it's not. It's not. That's building a fighter. That's building a brand. That's building. That's building him as a knockout merchant. See how many rounds this guy can give him. It's just building. It's part of the building blocks. When you step into the fights with a seasoned pros, that are still there, maybe a little bit on the slide, but still there, and so on, and still believe they're going to beat you and come along and you know try and win. You start learning more when fighters are throwing bombs back at you. You'll learn more from Joe Joyce, I imagine, than he will do in any of his other fights that he's had so far. You can say, oh yeah, but he's fought Kevin Johnson. Which version of Kevin Johnson was that? You know, that's why I don't. When you have a faded name, I rate that when it's a faded name that still comes to win and still has got capabilities. But when it's a faded name that is now just a strict journeyman, there's no difference between being a faded name that's just a journeyman trying to get through, kid through, and just get through the rounds. What's the difference between a faded name and having it as a Latvian? It gives you the same questions in the fight, you know. But when you have got guys that are live, that are in there trying to win, they ask you questions, and that's how you become a better fighter, because you add knowledge to your game to help you for when you get into the top level, and then you're fighting guys that are in there to try and beat you.
Interest. Just to conclude, Tyson Fury, it made a comment about Anthony Joshua. You know, that he beat him no problem. He's just a cuddly bear or something like that. Cuddly teddy bear or something like that. But in your opinion, if these two ever got it on, I mean, apparently there was offers talked about from the Middle East last weekend, whatever. How does that fight go? I mean,
I don't know.
Divided.
It's one of those fights. I don't know, because I've always thought that AJ beats him. I've always thought that, and then obviously, the way that Fury's come back is like his two fights against Wilder, especially the second fight. I still feel that when you get to Tyson, you can do damage, you can hurt him, and that's the thing is if AJ can turn it into a bit of a fight or where he can get his combinations off, then he's in the fight, and then if he can land a few shots, then he puts Tyson in trouble. But it's a difficult one because Fury against Wilder 1 and Fury against Wilder 2, it kind of like we knew that Wilder can't box. We know that he's just got a right hand. So without taking anything away from Fury's wins, AJ is going to be better than what Wilder was. But just the sheer way that Fury now has shown that what he can do going forward, putting somebody on the back foot, I've got to lean towards Tyson and say I would make him the favourite in the fight. But it's heavyweight boxing, you just never know. You know, I didn't think that AJ could box like he boxed in the rematch with Ruiz. No way. You know, he was always quite mechanical, quite stiff, and he was loosening up each fight. But to go from where he was to what he became in that rematch, that was just a brilliant performance. And he's going to be better at it the next time round because he's going to be more comfortable with it. He's got another camp of working with him, with the techniques that have been doing and stuff. So he's going to be a better fighter. So AJ is improving, but Tyson's improving. So that's what makes it a great fight, because the two heavyweights that are actually improving.
Yeah, and I've been telling countless people prior to going out to America for that fight, the rematch with Wilder, I saw Anthony Joshua in his gym training, and he looked phenomenal. I've been telling people he looked phenomenal. And I said to him, I seen involvement, and that wasn't in a disrespectful way, but I'm saying that I'm seeing you're adding a load of variety.
Yeah.
But also Tyson, it's proof. Tyson's two performances, there's such a contrast of what he showed.
Yeah.
And how emphatic the second victory was against Wilder, showing that, hold on a minute, both these guys, they are consummate professionals wanting to be the very best, and they're doing everything they can to give themselves more artillery, you know, in their skill set.
Yeah, and that's how I see it. I just see him as two improving, very good fighters that, you know, like I said, AJ last time out, he showed something. I loved the way he boxed last time. I know some people didn't like it, but I loved how disciplined he was, how smooth he was, light on his feet he was. It showed a completely different dimension to what we've seen before. And that is now going to be, like I said, he's working on it more. It's going to improve. And also, listen, he can still stand there, he can still let his hands go and put bombs together. So it's just one of those fights. You just don't know who's going to win. I don't know. I would have to say on the way that Fury did the job with Wilder, I would have to say that Fury's the favourite, but AJ's a very, very live dog in that fight, and it's a good fight.
I think people are giving Fury a lot of credit because the man went away from home twice, which is a massive thing, to be fair. It's a massive thing. Like, to go to the champion's backyard twice is it's the Warriors mentality. Remarkable. You know, but no, do you know what? We're probably a long way away from that. But look, it's nice to dream, and I'm sure things are going to happen in terms of the big fights. So yeah, Dave, it's been cracking to catch up, and I'm sure we'll do it again real soon.
Definitely, mate. Nice one.
Yeah.
Cheers,
Dave,
mate.
probably, so make sure you subscribe. Thanks, Dave. Thanks for your time.
Look after yourself, mate.